The forest can feel eternal. Miles of trees that swallow light, sound, and sometimes people. Most go hiking to escape civilization, to find peace. But in the wilderness, peace can turn to dread the moment you realize something else is out there. Tonight, we're diving deep into 5 disturbing encounters in the woods. True stories taken from witness accounts and backcountry reports that will make you think twice before stepping off the trail. Stay close to the fire and don't look behind you. The Silent Campground. A couple in their late 20s, Mark and Alyssa, wanted one last camping trip before winter set in. They drove 4 hours to a national forest known for its secluded campsites, the kind without running water or cell signal. When they arrived, the sun was already sinking. The air smelled like pine and smoke from faraway campfires. They picked a spot near a small clearing, pitched their tent, lit a fire, and roasted marshmallows while music from a small Bluetooth speaker played softly. As the night grew darker, the forest seemed to grow quieter. No wind, no crickets, just silence. At around midnight, Alyssa woke to what she thought were footsteps outside the tent. Slow, heavy, circling. Mark whispered, "Probably a deer." But when they listened closer, the steps were too steady. 2 legs, not 4. Mark unzipped the tent just enough to shine a flashlight. Nothing but trees. Then, a small stone hit the side of the tent. They froze. Another stone. Then another. Mark shouted, "Who's there?" The steps stopped. Minutes passed before they heard it again, this time closer. He decided to get up and check. As he stepped outside, the beam of his flashlight caught something. A reflection, like glass or metal, about 20 feet away. He called out again. No answer, just the feeling of being watched. They packed up in record time and sped off down the dirt road. But as the headlights sliced through the fog, Mark saw someone standing in the middle of the road. A tall figure, barefoot, holding what looked like a hunting knife, staring at them as they passed. When he looked back, the figure was gone. The rangers later told them there had been reports of a man living off-grid in those woods. A man who stalked campsites, silently watching through the night. The man in the log cabin. 4 college friends, Tyler, Jess, Ramon, and Mia, rented an old log cabin for a long weekend getaway. The cabin was deep in the mountains, surrounded by forest on all sides. No neighbors, no internet, no cell service. The first day went perfectly. They hiked, cooked, and told ghost stories by the fire. But that night, Jess woke up around 2 a.m. to the sound of whispering, not from inside the cabin, outside near the front porch. She shook Tyler awake. He listened. It was definitely whispering, male, low, and rhythmic, almost like chanting. They looked out the window. That's when Jess saw him. A man standing just beyond the tree line, motionless, watching. When Tyler opened the door, flashlight in hand, there was no one. But around the back of the cabin, they found footprints in the mud, barefoot, long-toed, leading in a circle around the house. The next morning, everyone wanted to leave, but the road was blocked by a fallen tree. They'd have to wait for a ranger to clear it. That night, it happened again, tapping on the windows, slow, deliberate. They turned off all the lights, hoping he'd go away. Then came the scratching, like nails dragging across the wood. When dawn finally broke, they went outside and saw words carved into the cabin's porch. "You shouldn't have come here." The ranger, who cleared the road later, told them the cabin had been built over the ruins of a hermit's home. a man who vanished in the 1970s after locals found out he'd been breaking into houses to watch people sleep. The hanging silence. Tom and Evan were experienced hunters. They'd been tracking deer through the Appalachian foothills for years, but one morning they strayed farther than usual, deep into a section of forest that wasn't on their map. They came across a crude shelter made of sticks and tarps. Inside, hanging from twine, were drawings, hundreds of them. Each was a face, different ages, different expressions, but every single one had the eyes scratched out. Tom said it felt colder inside the shelter, even though the sun was shining. As they stood there, the forest fell completely silent. Evan whispered, "Do you hear that?" Tom nodded. There were no birds, no insects, just stillness. Then came the smell. Rot, thick and metallic. They walked around the back and saw a deer carcass hanging from a tree, its body gutted, and its head replaced by a wooden mask nailed in place. Before they could react, they heard a faint laugh, high-pitched, childlike. It echoed between the trees but came from no clear direction. They sprinted back toward their truck, but the woods seemed endless. When they finally reached the trailhead, the sun was already setting, though by their watches, they'd only been gone 2 hours. The next day, they returned with a park ranger. But the shelter was gone. Only a circle of disturbed dirt remained. The lost boy in the red jacket. Ranger Emily Carr had been working in the state park for over a decade when she started receiving strange reports. Hikers claiming they'd seen a little boy wandering alone, wearing a bright red jacket. Each report was nearly identical. The boy never spoke, never responded. He just stared, then walked deeper into the woods and disappeared. Emily assumed it was an urban legend, until she saw him herself. One foggy morning, she spotted a flash of red near the ridge trail. She shouted, "Hey, are you lost?" No response. The boy just turned and walked away. She followed, careful not to spook him. But every time she rounded a tree, he was farther ahead, like the forest was helping him move. Finally, he stopped beside a massive oak. Emily stepped forward, and he was gone. In his place, hanging from a low branch, was an old decaying child's jacket. When she radioed it in, dispatch told her something chilling. A boy matching that description had vanished in those same woods 33 years earlier. Local legend says his spirit appears to lost hikers, not to hurt them, but to warn them not to go further, because something else lives deeper in that forest. The tape recorder. N 2016. A wildlife photographer named Dylan set up motion-activated cameras deep in a forest in Oregon, hoping to capture nocturnal animals for a documentary. He returned a week later to collect the footage, but one camera was missing. In its place, on the same branch, sat an old tape recorder wrapped in black electrical tape. At first, he thought it was a prank, but curiosity won. When he pressed play, the first 40 minutes were just normal forest sounds. Wind, distant animal calls, branches creaking. Then the tone changed. You could hear breathing, slow, heavy, human. Then a man's voice whispering, "I've been watching you take pictures." There was movement, the sound of running, snapping twigs, then a faint scream. The tape cut off mid-sound. Dylan brought the recorder to the rangers. They examined the area but found no footprints, no sign of forced entry, nothing. The missing camera was never recovered. Dylan quit his job and moved to the city. He still says he dreams about that voice, and sometimes he swears he sees someone watching him from the alley below his apartment window. The forest hides many things: history, memory, even the parts of ourselves we'd rather not face. Sometimes when you hear something moving in the dark, it's just the wind, and sometimes it isn't. If these stories kept you looking over your shoulder, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and share your own strange encounters in the comments. Until next time, stay curious